LaMelo Ball has had a crazy journey so far, going from a high school standout to overseas to a failed basketball league to another prep school to overseas again. And through all of this, through all the TV reality shows, all the 92-point games, the cherry picking, the hate he's garnered from his father, he has remained, in my opinion, a good basketball player. And watching him aspire this past year, I realized I was watching someone who had a chance to be a special player in the NBA. Because at currently 6'8", and with the skills he has, again, if this was someone going to, say, Duke or Kentucky, we would be talking about him as the #1 pick without question. But because of the uncertainty and the fact that he isn't going to college and is then going to be playing overseas for a year, it has led some to question his validity as a top 5 prospect in this draft. But let me tell you this. He is a top 5 player in this draft. In fact, I think he's better than his brother as a prospect. But before we get into why I believe that, make sure to like and subscribe, share the video with your friends and family, and let's get right into LaMelo Ball and why I think he has a chance to be a very special player in the NBA. LaMelo Ball boosted onto the scene alongside his brothers at Chino Hills, and when he first was getting popularized, he was a bit smaller. He was closer to an average human being's height, but because of the size of his brothers and really the way his body looked, you could tell he was going to grow. And currently he stands at 6'8" and 180 pounds. He currently was playing for the Illawarra Hawks. I think I'm saying that correctly. And over there right now, NBA scouts are impressed. They say that he can be a potential top pick. And looking at his skill set of what he has in his bag, basically, I think they have a good chance of being right. He has a good ball handle. He can shoot off the dribble. He can shoot off the catch. Basically meaning he's a good shot creator in general. He is a good passer. Again, unnormal size for a point guard, which is a good thing. He can rebound well because of his size. And one thing I really like about him now is he's matured since Chino Hills and since the overseas Lithuania experiment in the JBA league. Because once he got into a disciplined situation at Spire Academy, his game began to grow. He didn't take the 50-foot shots that he used to take. He wasn't taking 50 to 70 shots a game. No, really, look that up. He was at Chino Hills. He wasn't just a shot chucker anymore. He became a real valid prospect. A prospect that would like to get his teammates involved while also knowing when to score. A prospect with great touch and very good ball handling skills. A player who started to look more and more like his brother, Lonzo. A player who took control of the game with pace. And I know the public perception of LaMelo Ball, is that he is a selfish person. But based off what I've seen in articles from NBA scouts when they talk to his coaches overseas, they're telling him that the scouts that the team loves LaMelo. Oh my God, I'm gonna mess this up a lot, aren't I? But they're telling scouts that yeah, the coaches love LaMelo, the teammates love LaMelo. It doesn't seem to be a problem with the team, and I think part of it has to do with the fact that this is someone who has had a lot of spotlight on him his entire career. From the moment he was a early teenager, he became so more popular than a lot of NBA players in a way. And his father wasn't helping the situation with the amount of pressure that was being put onto him. And I'll reference Kyle Mann from the Dime Drop talking about his defensive effort, and part of that being that he doesn't want to be embarrassed and doesn't want to have that video of him getting embarrassed by a defender go up on the internet a lot. But besides that, I think this is a player. This is what I'm going to say is this. Disregard everything you remember from the time he bursted onto San Chino Hills till the JBA. Just wipe it down. Let's focus on the Spire Academy and what he's doing right now in the NBL. Because that right there is what is making him a top-level prospect. And in fact, this skill set, it screams top-level prospect. What if I told you this and removed the name and just said, a tall point guard that can shoot, he has great shot creating ability, it's a good passer, good rebounder. Wouldn't that player be considered one of the better players in the country? he would be. But because of his name, LaMelo Ball, he isn't by some. And I just want to address that. This is a player who honestly kind of reminds me a bit of a stretched out version of CJ McCollum, just based off his scoring style. I've heard comparisons to guys like Penny Hardaway. He honestly reminds me a bit more of a point guard version of a Paul George that isn't as athletic. Is that a weird comparison? Yeah. But it kind of resonates with me, just the way his smoothness with the game. It's kind of like, again, watching his brother who can score. And Lonzo Ball is a great player in the NBA right now, and he isn't a good scorer. LaMelo Ball has a chance to be that type of player while being a much better scorer than his brother. Now, of course, I don't think LaMelo will be the defensive player that Lonzo is. Lonzo Ball is one of the better defensive players in basketball, especially at the guard position. But I think LaMelo can develop into a solid defender. But I also think LaMelo realizes his situation right now. He knows he has the gifts to become an NBA point guard. It wasn't that long ago we were talking about him as someone his career was done. Like, he wasn't going to make the NBA. His father ruined it with the eligibility thing. But at the same time, he's fought back. And he's playing in a good league. It's not like the top of a EuroLeague competition that you would think of. But it's good level it's better than the Lithuania League. I'll leave it at that much. And he's playing well in that league right now. And what I've seen when I watched his games from over there is someone who's more in control. Someone who knows how to discipline himself into taking bad shots. Does he occasionally take the bad shots? Yeah, of course he does. But a lot of kids take bad shots, and no matter what level they're on, it's something that probably resonates with every single prospect. They have to look into shot selection to a certain degree. And, but again, like I said before, just don't think of him. This isn't the Chino Hills JBA LaMelo Ball. This is a new LaMelo Ball. And he isn't explosive as an athlete his brother is. His brother's a bit more explosive as an athlete. But, again, he like with Anthony Edwards for me, this is a player who suffers from the typical but teenage basketball problems. Shot selection, turning the ball over, things like that. Which I think can be improved upon in time. A lot of NBA players were like this when they were coming out of high school. So again, it just kind of makes sense for me to not overly think about it too much. How we see NBA stars that have these turnover problems. Again, he needs to improve defensively. A lot of young players need to do that as well. His just happens to be more magnified because of his popularity. But again, I think really his father's yakking and the Chino Hills after Lonzo left and Lithuania in the JBA league, those things kind of hurt his image as a prospect in a way. But at the same time, what he's doing right, what he did at Spire Institution, what he did in the NBL, I personally think that should be the focus right now, because that's what he is right now. And what is that? That's a really good prospect. Again, these are me going. Again, I'm talking like some sort of expert. These are just my opinions on the players. Right now, it looks like NBADraft.net has him going 4th overall to Chicago Bulls, which doesn't really make sense to me at all because, the Bulls do have Kobe White, they have Zach LaVine. I don't know exactly where he fits. Tankathon currently has him going 18th overall to the Celtics, which I would love, honestly. I would be really happy with that. But Tankathon also said something about that they were gonna update that, so LaMelo's going higher. And basically off what Tankathon thinks the NBA standings will look at right now, what teams do I think he'd fit on? Like Anthony Edwards, I think he would fit very well on the Hornets, just to be the franchise guy for that team. A team maybe like the Knicks would be a good one. I know there's a lot of media attention that comes with being a New York Knick, but I think it could work. How would he fit with RJ Barrett? I don't know. Actually, now that I think about that, isn't the greatest fit. Another fit would be the Washington Wizards, maybe. Maybe they decide to move on from John Wall and Bradley Beal. Maybe they could get a LaMelo Ball to be the guy. I think a team like Minnesota actually would be a good fit. A guy who can score, a guy who can be a good facilitator next to Karl-Anthony Towns, to be that second guy next to Karl-Anthony Towns, because Andrew Wiggins isn't working out, obviously. Other than that, I'm looking at teams that are projected to be in the lottery. The Thunder are a team I would say, but I could say that about any player that goes in the lottery, but I don't know where the Thunder are going to finish. They could be a playoff team. They could end up not being a playoff team, depending on the whole Chris Paul thing. Maybe a team like the Pistons if they want to start over, because it's clearly not working right now, if you know what I mean. The Magic, if the Magic just fall off and they don't make the playoffs again, I'm looking at them as a potential landing spot for him, you know. But the Suns are another potential landing spot for him as well, because they always need a point guard. But again, I think LaMelo Ball is a really good prospect. But I think people who really just stopped watching him in a way after high school really just don't know how good of a player he really is. And I truly think he is better than his brother.